Hi YouTube, it's Lena, and I'm here today with the top 5, bottom 5 makeup empties that I had for the year. Now, I originally got this from Panning and stuff. She said it was okay if I did this too. I think it's a really interesting way to do like yearly favorites because this is all stuff that I've used up throughout the year. So I feel like I have a solid opinion about all these products, for better or worse. But I will link her down below. I believe she's already done it this year, and it's about time to do mine because I don't think anything else that I might finish by the end of the year is going to end up on either side of this list. So, in an effort to be positive, or to end on a positive note, I guess I should say, I will start out with the bottom products. Now first, I have the ColourPop All-Star Face Setting Mist. And I mentioned in the project that it was in, I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been finished 7 by spring, I'm not entirely sure. That I had to decant this into another bottle because the product wouldn't spray out. Now, the reason why it didn't want to do that, yep, there's still some of it left, is that something about this formula had like a residue that would clog up the sprayer. Now, it hadn't gone bad, it never broke me out, it didn't smell weird or anything like that, it's just something weird about the formula. And because ColourPop turns their stuff over a lot, I have no idea if they still sell this or not, but I would certainly not seek this out again. Because it wasn't a good enough spray to want to deal with that sort of ickiness. Now, next is something that I wouldn't repurchase anyway because it's not cruelty-free, but it was my least favorite foundation of the year. And I have a lot of foundations that I actually really liked this year, so I felt the need to mention it. It is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Tint. Now, as you can see, I cleaned the crap out of it, but it has a doe foot applicator, and I hate that. This is like 80% a packaging dislike, honestly, because I hate the whole doe foot applicator in a foundation thing. Give me a pump, hell, give me an open top so I can pour it out. Give me a tube to squeeze it out, something of that nature. Because this was also not a super liquidy, but not a super thick foundation either. But nothing wants to come out. You can never get enough product out of these. So I ripped the stopper out of it, honestly. Like as soon as I started using it, I ripped the stopper out of it. So the thing that I didn't like about the product was that I've gotten paler since I initially reviewed this, because when I initially reviewed this, I said that it's definitely a light coverage foundation, which I don't mind, honestly, but it's light enough that despite it only having like either 10 or 12 shades, I could kind of get away with it because it was kind of like sheer coverage. I've gotten paler since I initially reviewed this, and I couldn't do that anymore by the time I was using this up. So I had to mix in a foundation mixer, which meant that I still couldn't even just apply this from the bottle. I had to like wipe it on I used the back of a palette, but I had to wipe it on like a foundation mixing board, mix in a foundation mixer, and then use it, and it was just aggravating as hell. Now next is something that's purely a packaging fail. So I like this product, but the packaging of the full size is garbage. It is the Grande Lips Hydrating Lip Plumper. Yeah, this took me forever to use up this year because there's a crap ton of product in it. But this pumping thing, like now it does, mine broke as soon as I got it, so I would have to like fight with it to pump anything out. And I don't know if that's a normal thing about it, because I have another one that I got from BoxyCharm over there. I think I bought this from somebody completely new and everything, just this was the clear one. So I like the product, I like plumping lip glosses, that's not what bothered me at all, just pure packaging. Please don't put your freaking lip glosses in this like clicky packaging. I hate it. Lots of people hate it. It's not just me, but I really hate it. Next is the Farsali Jelly Beam Illuminator in Glow Up. So let me open it for you. This is, I guess you can get kind of an idea of what the color was. The color was a little too dark for me. I got it from BoxyCharm. I actually bought it in limited edition BoxyCharm box. But the color wasn't even the big problem. I mixed it into foundation and eventually even lotion just to get rid of it. This was a jelly highlighter. This had the like grossest texture to me and I hated it. But I had it, and I'm one of those people that unless it is actively breaking me out or it makes me not want to put on makeup, even if I don't like a product, I will still usually just go ahead and power through it and use it up. I know that's not everybody's philosophy, and that's awesome. Everybody has different ways of project panning, and I salute them all. Don't get me wrong. But I'm somebody that's a little too stubborn for my own good, quite honestly. It's not the best trait in the world, but I'm stubborn. I wanted to finish this, so I did, especially since I was able to mix it into a lotion, and then I couldn't feel the texture of it, so it didn't matter. But I would never seek out another jelly highlighter, period. But especially not from Versali, who is also just a hell of an expensive brand that I can't quite figure out why. And finally, this might have just been, it sat around too long. I don't know what was wrong with it. This is the Trestique Mini Eye Pencil. And when I tried to pan this, it was super dry and eventually it fell out. So I just kind of gave up and said it was done. But yeah, super duper dry. Did not enjoy it. I don't know. I don't think I had this for that long though. Like, I have eyeliners that I've had for several years, admittedly, that are still super creamy, both mechanical and sharpenable. And this thing I probably had maybe a full year and it was dry as a fart. So, no thank you, would not seek that out again. I do like stuff from Trestique though, like I like a lot of their products. That was just not one of them. And now, for that high note to go out on, we have the top 5 products, and I actually have an honorable mention just because I had 6 products. Quite frankly, it's the top 6, but roll with me here. For my honorable mention, this is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 Foundation. My shade is in 008 Porcelain, and this is a good shade match for me. They had to keep expanding their shade range because their original lightest shade was bright orange on people with like my skin tone. And I'm glad that they did because I really like the formula. I am very oily skin, in case you happen to be tuning in for the first time and don't know that. So I need something that's going to stay on my face and not leave me with patches at the end of the day like some foundations do. This kept foundation on my face, did leave me as a huge grease ball. My one reason that I would make this an honorable mention over other foundations in here is that this is a little heavy. Now, this is a full coverage foundation. Yes, you can thin it out with moisturizer, oils, whatever, but I'm kind of lazy. So if I had like just 3 foundations that I rotated between, this is something that I would go for when I needed a lot more coverage, like I'm breaking out. I have a lot of redness in my cheeks naturally, which I go over with blush, but then I can control the color that it is. But they look blotchy on their own, which is what I try to cover up. If I'm having a really bad day with that, something like any of those issues, this is what I would have around to grab. I really like it. It's cruelty-free. There's a good shade range. You can probably find it. And they seem to have most of the shade range in stores, which is good because a lot of times something will have a huge shade range, but you can only find like 10 shades in store. Not necessarily this one. I bought this inside of a Walmart, literally. Now, for the actual top 5, this is my favorite foundation, hands down. It's hella expensive. I have not repurchased it right now because I have too many foundations in my life. But probably at the end of 2021, I'm going to repurchase it. Once I knock out a few more foundations, especially some of the more expensive ones that I have, then I really don't want to go bad. No. I will say this is expensive. This is a $44 foundation. I have not said what it is yet. It is the Il Makiage Woke Up Like This foundation, and my shade is in 005. Has like 40 shades. I was able to find my perfect shade online. Imagine that. You can't really get this from anywhere but their website, and that's my one kind of thing about it. I really wish they were in Ulta or Sephora, probably Sephora with the price tag, but they could totally be an Ulta too. But it is everything that this is as far as staying on my face, not going patchy, not going greasy. But this is like light to medium coverage, which I really appreciate. So this I can stand to wear in the summer and not want to claw my face off because I have so much crap on it. So yes, I love this. I have not figured out any sort of drugstore dupe to it. I used to say that this reminded me of a lighter version of the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Because I still got like all the wear time that I could get out of it, but not as high of coverage, so it didn't look like a full mask when I was wearing it, because I've used up an Estee Lauder Double Wear too. But I definitely like this a lot more, so I definitely recommend it. Go and like sign up for their thing, and you get like some kind of coupon like you do at most websites when you go to their actual brand sites. And they have a thing where once the product ships, you have 2 weeks to try it out, and if you don't like it, you can send it back and they'll send you your money back. So I do appreciate that. I loved it, so I didn't need that. Now the final foundation. Like I said, I liked my foundations this year for the most part. This is the ColourPop No Filter Sticks in the shade Fair 05W. Once again, pretty damn good color match for me. It's rolled all the way up because it is, you know, it's done. My one issue with foundation sticks is that you go through them really quickly, or at least I do. So like, I finished this in like 6 weeks to 2 months. And I know some people complained that theirs went off quickly. I didn't have that problem. Maybe I used it up quickly enough and I didn't. Like this was one that I didn't have for a super long time because I knew of friends that complained, oh, this went off on me, I wouldn't repurchase because it sat around for a little while and it started smelling bad. So I went ahead and used mine up because I do really like it. It's quick, it's easy to buff out. It doesn't necessarily have the lasting power of the Milani or the Il Makiage, but it does in a pinch, and this is something that you can bring around to reapply. This is the best luck I've had with a foundation stick. So, and I want a foundation stick of like, if I had to have just like 3, one would probably be like a foundation stick. Like these would probably be the 3 foundations that I would keep around. One for more coverage, one for less coverage, and one for like quick on the go. And maybe like the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue if I just wanted to keep like a tinted moisturizer around too. Which I did finish one of those last year, but I think I talked about it in this video last year, and I didn't want to talk about a bunch of the same stuff. So now the one way I'm breaking that is with this, because I probably, if I finished even a mini of this last year, I probably talked about it. It's one of my favorite primers. It is the Becca First Light Priming Filter. It's purple, but it doesn't show up as purple on your skin. This is not a mattifying primer by any means, so I did not include a mattifying primer in this year because my favorite mattifying primer is being discontinued. I did finish one. I finished a mini and a travel size actually, but I figured I would hang back from including that. So I put this in here instead. This is something that works great with this, honestly. If I want something to take down the mask likeness of it a little, it just makes them blend together beautifully and not be so heavy. Like this is basically a really fancy priming moisturizer to me, or maybe a moisturizing primer. But this still keeps makeup on my face without being super matte, and I really, really like it. And I haven't really found an equivalent in any drugstore brands because obviously I would like to pay less. Now I do wait and get this when it pops up at Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty. I repurchased it this year to do that, and that's how I got this one. I've never actually paid full price for it, although if I only kept a few primers around, I totally would. And it smells like Fruit Loops, at least to me. Speaking of similar primers, this is a little bit less expensive, but I really enjoyed it as well. It is the Ciate London Watermelon Burst Hydrating Primer. I liked it so much that when Empties add-ons popped up and they had a full size, I bought it. because I got this from Ipsy. But it smells like watermelon. I know I don't need both of these around necessarily. I could switch back and forth from one to the other in purchasing, and I wouldn't be able to tell much of the difference between the two. But I like the smells of both, and I had the opportunity to get this for like, I think it was 12 bucks as well. Like, I don't remember exactly what I paid for this half off, but I think it was like $19.50. And this I paid $12, which I think is about half the price of it, maybe a little bit less. But, you know, if you like a sort of moisturizing primer, not illuminating, because that's not what they are hydrating. Pick either, you could pick one of these and be fine. I just happen to really like them both. And I discovered this one in particular this year, so I had to put it in. And finally, I have a concealer. I was the last person on this train. I've used up a mini of the Tarte Shape Tape this year. This is in the shade Fair Neutral. You can buy these minis from, what's it called? Ulta. Probably Sephora too. Like, I had initially popped the stopper out so that I could scrape the shit out of it. But like, it is bone dry now. But yeah, I really, really like this. Now I won't say discovered a dupe because it's not quite the same, but I find that the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer fulfills a similar idea. And like I said, I'm really oily skinned, but I like a lot of coverage underneath my eyes. They both fulfill that. And I know with like the Tarte Shape Tape, I know that it takes forever to finish a full size because I've seen people pan it. And this little one right here took me 4 months, I think, to finish. And I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Camo Concealer for the rest of my life, which is fine. So I don't think I would purchase a full size of this unless I could get it half off. And this is a pretty decent shade for me too. I got this one through Ipsy as well. Whew. So, yeah. I would probably repurchase the e.l.f. over this one, but I really, really liked it. So I wanted to mention it because I like the coverage and I like that it actually stays on underneath my eyes. Because I have greasy under eyes. That's friggin' weird, but I do. So that is it. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I do really appreciate it, and hopefully I will see you later. Bye!